Brad Wynyard, and he's going to talk about what he saw on Thursday, the 24th of June, when he was coming back from Maungatapere into Whangarei. Brad, can you tell us what you saw, please?
Well, to start off, first of all, that when I drove over to Maungatapere in the morning, it was a clear sky, and I noticed there were 7 trails in the sky, all coming through together.
So when you say 7 trails, aerosol trails...
Aerosol trails, okay, they were heading, 5 trails were heading west to east, and 2 trails were heading basically south down toward Auckland. They all came over in one big group, so they actually crossed each other. The sky was clear as I started to work with these trails coming through. By 2, when I'd finished, we were in cloud, and a lot of these trails had actually spread to form a sort of a cloud layer.
So when you say clouds, you're referring to the aerosol trails?
Aerosol trails, yes.
Dispersing and forming a milky white layer of...
yeah, they were forming up like a cloud layer over above us. And as I was finishing work, I was working, I had a big block of bush all around the house, and as I looked up, I could see these big clumps of like spiderweb trails coming down. I could see them against the green of the trees, but I couldn't get them. They were sort of blowing around above me and into the bush. And I thought, well, that's a bit strange because I've seen this before.
So when you're talking about the cobwebs, how long are they? Can you
most of them were just short, about this long,
right.
but clumps, not just like I've seen in the past, just long trailers. They were clumps of spiderweb.
Right, and what colour were they?
They were white.
Right.
They showed up white against the green bush. They were up above me, I couldn't get to them, and then, I sort of noticed that, and then I jumped in the car. I was driving home, so I'm about 2 k's down the road going up the Maunu hill on the Maungatapere side, and a great big clump about this long came down over top of the car. It was a really big clump, went over the top of the car, and I couldn't stop because I had traffic behind me. And then I got home, I rang you. As I was calling you, another clump came down the side of our house, which I raced out and tried to grab, but it just dissolved in my hands. So we live about somewhere between 10 and 15 k away in a straight line from Maungatapere, so it was obviously widespread. And then after I rang you, I left to go to my next job, and I was driving down the hill, and I saw even more clumps coming down down the road.
You mentioned when you phoned that you saw a clump that was approximately 1/2 a metre wide.
That was the big clump I saw go over the top of the car when I was going up the back of Maunu Hill.
Can you describe it a bit more? What kind of material it looked like?
It was white, but it was just like a big ball of spiderweb. It was all sort of bunched up, but light just drifting along with big long sort of trailers coming out of it. Right,
and there's no way there could be a spider that big that could form such a huge ball.
No, I don't think so. Don't think so.
Yeah, because
but it was just unusual that I was seeing it in Maungatapere coming out of the sky, then I was seeing it driving home, and then I get home and I'm seeing it again. That's a big area. So, and it sort of just coincides that I did see the spraying in the sky.
And what did you notice the following day about what was in the sky?
The next day, it sort of followed on. I was back out on the west side of Whangarei again, and the skies were orange, quite a distinctive orange colour in them, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's a heavy metallic aerosol.
Yeah, it contrasts with the natural white.
And even friends of mine actually who know nothing about contrails remarked, gee, that was a funny looking orange sky out there today. And the sky was like that most of the day, and it just formed up a horrible pea soup sort of haze, but very, very distinctive orange sky. And where the sun could get through, we were getting coloured cloud all around the sun.
Yeah. And you mentioned seeing clouds that were evincing different colours, like a rainbow, is that right?
Yeah, they were sort of the rainbow colours, but that real metallic-y look, not like a rainbow, they're almost iridescent.
Right, yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Brad. That's very interesting. And have you seen any other interesting things like that over the last few months?
Well, as far as the stuff falling out of the sky, yes, I have. I've been at sea. We were in our yacht out off Great Barrow, so we were about 10 k's out at sea, and we got dumped on. We had these long trails of web.
Mhm.
You couldn't actually see it falling, but we were sailing along. We looked up, and the sun was a certain angle, and our rig was just trailing all these long web-like things. And then we actually had 2 lines. We'd only just put out the back, and they were covered in it as well, right to the water. I tried to photograph, but it's too fine. You just couldn't get it.
it's difficult to catch
And
it.
we tried to put it in our hands, and our hands were damp, and it just dissolved. It all just dissolved.
So what do you think it's comprised of?
I have no idea.
But so how long does it take to dissolve in your hand?
In the boat, the other day it just dissolved. It just sort of fell on my hand, and it was just starting to disappear on my hand.
Right. Okay.
So, and that's probably one of the reasons why we never see the stuff. Can't find it. And I also had the same thing with this clumpy stuff. I was kayaking out in the Tutukaka harbour, and a couple of big clumps just came down into the water beside me. And once again, it was just gone.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I've had a few experiences of this stuff.
Yep. And okay, thank you very much for your time, Brad, and thank you very much for all the information you've been giving me over the years.
Okay.
Okay.